Okay, Mr. Lima. Now, as an educationist, at what age do you think parents need to start sex education for their kids? At what age of the kids do you think they need to start sex education? Because you could see that recently on our media space, social media especially, we've seen sex tapes, we've seen young girls as low as 10 years speaking on sex and how they enjoy it and all that. At times you tend to wonder, did they get to know sex through the right space, through the right channels? How is it that they have come to speak about it without even shyness? You understand me? Back in the time, for even adults to speak about it was a problem. But now the children have the information up front. You think it's better? What age do you think the parents need to start giving these children sex education in order to direct them in the right way?
Okay, I think thank you very much for this opportunity once again. I think the question that you have asked is very relative as to the age and as to where and when to start is another question on its own. So I'm saying that right now, with the invention of the social media and a lot of these young, let me say, young adults, they are already exposed to some of this sex education. So what I would
Sex
say,
education
yes, as in
or sex
when
material?
he said yes,
Sex,
they are exposed to sex material.
sex
Let me
material, yes.
exactly, because the sex education is the broader one. So I would say that sex material and some of the things too. I think we have a saying that we say that charity begins at home.
Exactly.
So in as much as the child is growing, you need to also sit him or her down and try to explain certain things to them, because if you don't teach them and they get it from another source,
That's
it
a
will
problem
become a problem to
because you
you.
don't know what actually will be sold to the child or how the
Exactly.
information gets to the child.
Exactly.
So what age? Because right, you said it's relative.
Exactly.
I accept it's relative, but how would you know what your child knows? Because that's one area so many parents shy from, to speak on sex with their kids,
Very well.
even as older as 18 years. But you see, most of them get to know the thing very early, very, very, very early.
Okay.
And yet you are quiet. Back in the time, you see, what confuses me is that, you see, when you read the books, back in the time, when the girls get to their puberty or probably start their menstrual cycle, the older generation were known, or they were known to actually be on the verge of educating the girls on sex at that age. It didn't matter when they had their first menses, whether 9 years, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. They just gave them the education on sex because back then it was presumed that when you get to that age, then you're ready for marriage. So they give you the education on sex. Fast forward to now, we don't do that. Parents don't do that any longer because we assume, okay, 12 years, he has about 18 years to get, probably 10, 15 years before. But how do you expect the person to know if you don't teach the person? By experience, then before they get to the age of marriage, things would have been. What do you think?
Okay, I think you have a point, and that's why I'm saying it's relative. Because now I have been telling my student that we grow in knowledge, not in age. So, in as much as you are also wishing that maybe the child will get to a particular age before you start teaching the child is also another problem. So I'm saying that if the child get to, let's say, upper primary, let's
Upper
say
primary.
from upper primary, let's say basic
Let's start
4,
from class
yes,
4.
class 4,
9 years, 10 years.
yes, because I have encountered a lot about these kids. They are very intelligent and they are exposed to this some of these telenovelas. They see some of these sexual.
The parents actually watch the telenovelas with the kids. They see the kissing and all that. They sit in the midst of their parents or elders to watch this telenovela. So they know what's going on.
Exactly. So we cannot deceive ourselves and say there is a particular age, or we have to phantom a particular age in a quest to teach them what they ought to know.
So
But
the moment you say your child is a bit intelligent in this respect,
exactly, if the child is able to decipher between wrong and right, you are supposed to nail it down.
but at times it's also the problem is that, okay, so your child, you could see your child is sharp by age 9, 10, 11. The child is already asking certain
Even if
questions.
the child is not, some of them, they can pretend a lot.
Exactly.
Yes, some of them they can pretend a lot. So you don't have to think for the child. Even if the child doesn't talk, some of them in Africa here, how we measure intelligence is a question mark. Because there are some people who are very intelligent, but they are not outspoken. Some of them you have to read them. And when they are with you, they don't
But
really.
Africa will put intelligence to books.
Exactly.
If you're not academically good,
You are right. You are right. Yeah, yeah,
But if
yeah,
you're
yeah.
academically
Sure.
good, if
Sure,
you're
sure, sure.
academically good, then you're a saint.
Exactly, exactly. You see, so I'm saying that you know the kind of um, child you have given birth to. So if the child is growing, there are certain things based on the convo that you should be able to interact with the child, so that you will know the weakness and the strength of the child too as well. I think 4 years ago, I sent my student to the exams hall. Then, proud to the BEC, I think a day before the science paper, I told them that they should go to their various houses. This evening, I'm not teaching, so that they can rest and wake up at dawn and what and learn. So when we got to the exam center the following day, which was Tuesday, so I realized that most of them were holding phone. So I managed to take the phone from them. And I chanced on their WhatsApp the kind of things that I saw there. 30 years and 40 years old. And
They are speaking in details.
I tell you, the kind of things that they know.
Yes. Well, we as parents pretend they don't see.
Exactly. So I confronted the parent and I spoke to him about what is going on. And he said, oh, as for the daughter, yeah,
She's not like that.
she's not like that. You know, African parents, we like pretending. So she's rather defending
But
the
do you think
daughter.
the reason why the parents don't teach this sex education from that tender age of say 11, 12, or 13 is because they don't know how to do it.
Exactly.
And
That
the
is
method to use, whether to use pictorial views or whether to just say it. There's a problem there. There's a
I
gap
think
there.
some of them too is a generational thing because they themselves they were not taught. So how would they be also able to
How
also
they be able
channel
to
it
get
to their
kids.
children? Exactly. So that is another point altogether.
Because it's becoming overwhelming.
I tell
The
you.
sex tips. I saw a sex tip of some GHS students, a boy and a girl, and there's even one out there where the lady, a teacher sent it to me, where the lady was having a thing with two of her mates, boys,
In the classroom.
in a classroom.
Yes. It's very bad.
In a classroom.
It's very bad. And if care is not taken, I think 2 years to come, what we are going to see
We'll be
is something. I tell you,
We'll be
because if we
serious.
don't
Yeah.
find a nice way to curb some of these social vices, it will go in a long run to hurt some of us in society. Because right now, when you go to La Paz, I don't know whether you have been there before.
Yes.
La Paz.
Yes, it's,
they have a place called Night Market also. I went there 3 years ago to visit a friend. So when I was coming, then I got to a very vantage point. I realized that when you look to your right, there is particular group of people standing there. Then to your left too, there is another group there. Then when you move 5 minutes away from where you are standing, there is another group there. So I was walking, then when I get to that particular place, the place that I mentioned about, then somebody will do I'll just look at them and I'll just then I realized that what we have been watching on telly is
actually
real.
reality. And some
Yeah,
are very,
so
very
I
young.
moved 5 minutes
Yes.
away, then I saw different kind of
Yes.
people, then I always observed it. Then I came to realize that even some of the things that they are doing there, the prostitution, there are levels. I tell you, we have small children. Some are even below 14 years. I can attest to that fact. They are below 14 years. When you go to La Paz right now, that is their source of livelihood. It's serious.
So, okay.
And even not to even cut you,
Okay.
let me add up to this one. I think last year I managed to also teach someone remedial. So in the course of the studies, I realized that I have applied all the methods,
It wasn't
but
going.
it wasn't going. Then I realized that why is it spiritual? I confronted the lady
Yeah.
and I talked to her and I asked her a lot of questions. So she was able to open up to me. In fact, she was able to tell me certain things about her that the parents are not even
They're
aware
not
of.
aware.
So she was like, everything started when she was at the secondary school. She said when they were in campus, a friend of hers invited her to a birthday party. So they even jump wall. They even jump wall
To
to
go
attend that
to go
birthday
for those
party.
programs. Yeah.
So when they were there, he said somebody poured something into her drink. So unconsciously, then the person was able to get access to sleep with her. That is where it started from. So now everybody that she will date, she will end up sleeping with the person. So I asked her that particular year, how many people has she been able to sleep with? She was like, she can't count.
Uh,
Now I was shocked
Looking at
to the extent
age
that even elder or a deacon in the church, in their church,
has done it to her.
exactly, which is very bad. You see, some of these kids, they entrust certain things into the people who are leading them. So even if you are corrupting them or you are allowing them to even sleep with them, they will even give up to you.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Back to the question again. We don't teach them. We
Exactly.
don't allow them to speak about it. It's quite difficult to even go to your parents to ask your child, tell them, Mama, Dada, I have this feeling. Like I want someone to sleep with me. I've been feeling this tingling. It's quite difficult because the moment you raise a topic like that, they will probably insult you. They will tell other family members about what you are going through. At times, issues of yours come out. Probably you've done something. Maybe you are struggling, and then it comes out, and boom, everyone knows about it. You can't go anywhere. You are always hidden. Everyone is chastising you, insulting you, collaborating, that's what you are doing. You understand me? All those things. You think it worries the child. We are not teaching them, and yet still we are making their life, we are making the lives of children that miserable in their growth. Or you don't look at it in that line.
Yes, it's also part because when we tone to that lane, it will be difficult for them to even open up to us because they will know that even if I speak this thing with my mother, he will end up and insult me. He will say all sort of things about me. He will say maybe I'm a spoiled child or I'm exposed to, maybe I have even done it to someone. So they will not even get closer to you and they will not even do things for you to know that
Yeah,
they are
doing.
even exposed to some of these things. So as a parent, I think charity begins at home. We shouldn't underrate the kind of children we are producing now. So my advice is when the child get to upper primary, let's say class 4, from class 4, sit him or her down
It starts.
and teach him. Even KG1, the kind of things that they can say.
You watch the cartoon now,
Exactly.
and then there is kissing in the cartoons.
That is content.
And
And that
content,
one sells a lot.
it sells a lot, so the children know what's kissing. A 3 years old girl asks it, so the father, "Oh, daddy, that's a boyfriend, that's a girlfriend." They understand those things in a particular way. You understand? So the education needs to come to them.
Exactly.
The parents need to give them those education. But the problem is, how do you explain sex for a 10 years old child?
We have a way of saying it, and I chanced on a video where the parent told the girl child that if someone touches you, you will be pregnant. So it's like in the absence of the parent, somebody came to their house and the person was asking of the parent and he was like, oh, my mom has traveled. So the person touch, oh, okay, then bye bye. It's like the person is gay, oh, bye bye. Then when they come, tell him that so and so came here to visit them. So the girl was also crying. He was crying. So he called the parent on phone and he was like, oh, this man came here
And touch me.
and touched me. Yes, so I'm pregnant. So they didn't even understand because they were absent for 4 months. So they didn't get what the girl was trying to say. So he's crying that he's pregnant, he's pregnant. So they filed a motion to also arrest the person. So when they went to court and upon cross
They
examination,
realized that.
they realized that, oh, the man in question just came to the house to touch the lady. So it was based on the education that they gave to the
child.
daughter.
Okay.
You understand?
So
So that landed the guy also in trouble. So when they read the case, they realized that, oh, this one.
So meaning the parents, the education the parents give to the children really impacts on the way they act.
Exactly. So if you tell your daughter that this is Sobolo, and later on you find out that this is Gary, it will be difficult for him or her to trust you.
So you tell the child this is Sobolo when it's Gary, and then later on she finds out that this is Gary.
Exactly. She will not even come closer to you again.
She'll know you lie.
Because she will know that you are hiding things from her.
So it needs to be that plain.
Exactly. So you have to be brutally frank with them. This is not the time for us. You see, when we were coming up, our generation is different from the generation that we find ourselves in now. Now they are exposed to so many things. Even if you don't tell them, their friends in school will also tell them. That's why we have various types of socialization.
If you don't give them the mobile phone, someone will show them the content of the mobile phone. You can't run away from it.
You can't run away from it.
You just can't run away from it.
You can't run.
Closing your eyes doesn't mean the whole world is asleep.
Exactly.
Yes, someone.
You know, right?
Yes, you can't really run away from it. It's not easy.
I tell you,
it's a discussion that needs to go on and on. For parents to learn how to educate their children on sex, the advantages of sex and the disadvantages, like more or less like how sweet sex is, plus the consequences of sex, so that they're able to make those decisions themselves. Because we tend to think too much for the children. We tend to, how do you call it, control everything they do, and assume they have a particular nature, when indeed probably they don't even have that nature at all. So well, I think that's a good thing.
Exactly. Because when you begin to think for them, it's not always that you think for them. You have to start the training now. If you don't start now and they get to their peak, it is very difficult for you to superimpose your training on them.
Especially when it gets to the point where they know what
they know it already.
They've already developed in certain areas. Even when you speak to them about the consequences, they'll just say in their mind. I remember when we were in SHS, a teacher of ours was telling us, a social studies teacher, very nice woman, telling us that we shouldn't indulge in sex, and then when you get to the university, there are lots of women. I went to a boys' school, you can sleep. And then some of the guys behind me say that, see her, like speaking, like no, like not speaking to her, but passing the comment that she's enjoying, and then she's trying to deter us from enjoying. You see, that's the thing. So when the development of the brain on certain issues has already been established, when you come in there, the children think you're trying to deceive them or trying to just, you understand me, laka them. But when you tell them from beginning, they make up their minds. They know what is right from wrong. Some parents really do well, but most, I'm telling you, they don't even have
time
discussions with their children, not to speak of sex education, to speak on sex with their children and all that. Everything is hidden. Some children, their parents can't even give their partner's pecs in front of their children because a few years he will spoil and all that. And this is the problem we are living with. I hope this discussion goes on because we need more on this. And then
the mentality is different in Ghana here.
The mentality is different. Even in Ghana or Africa.
In Africa,
that's why, because in foreign countries, you could find out that teenage pregnancy is low, even though they actually have a lot of sex there. When you come here, the sex is there, but not as exposed as these foreign countries. And then the teenage pregnancy is high. So they have more sex. They don't get pregnant as much as we get pregnant because we don't know the consequences. Everyone just goes in and do whatever we want to do. And then we come out with the consequences and it becomes so dark. And if start with it, that when the child gets pregnant, the parent blames the child. Yeah, you've gotten pregnant, go to the man that impregnated you. I can't take it, you brought shame onto the family and all that. Meanwhile, you didn't even educate them on how to go about these things. Well, the discussion is long, it's lengthy. I think we need more time to discuss it. But this is a first session. We'll come your way again on sex education.